So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Hope everything's good wherever you are. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video, guys. As always, I always ask you guys to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And yeah, let's get on with the video. So guys, it has been confirmed that Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez will square off September 17th for their iconic trilogy. You know, this is going to be up there with the iconic trilogies, you know, the Pacquiao, the Moraleses, the Barrera Moraleses. You know, this is going to be up there with the iconic trilogies that we've had, the Fury Wilders, the Ali Fraziers, the Ali Norton. This is a special fight, you know, and a fight that has a lot of history, a fight that, you know, were both evenly contested both times they fought. You know, people having split opinions on who won the fight. You know, a lot of people felt unanimously that Golovkin won the first fight. The second fight, people were more evenly split, but, you know, I think the general consensus was that Canelo might have edged it. But nevertheless, it was close. But over the two fights, you'd have to say that Golovkin, in most people's eyes, kind of edged it, because most people thought he emphatically won the first fight. And the second fight was relatively close, where, you know, in the second fight, apparently, you know, a lot of the people in the media had Golovkin winning, and I remember the scorecards at the time. A lot of the media people had Golovkin winning, but I'll say this: I think a lot of people viewed Golovkin as an underdog, and not the underdog in terms of fighting ability and them two head to head. I think underdog in the sense that they felt like Canelo always gets the close fights, and a lot of people want to see Golovkin win. So I do think that sometimes when a fighter does well against Canelo, they'll automatically give them a lot more credit than what they actually deserve. And sometimes Canelo gets hard done by. You know, people say that Canelo gets a lot of close decisions, which may be true. However, there's also a case where when people are scoring fights, because Canelo is used to getting close decisions, I think some of the fans look to take rounds away from Canelo, which maybe he may have won. Like, a lot of people had the Caleb Plant fight pretty close. A lot of people had the Billy Joe Saunders. Some people had Billy Joe winning. Like, I'm looking at it and thinking, what are these people watching? You know, what are these people, you know, looking at? Because there's no way, in my opinion, that you could have given that fight to Billy Joe. Like, I thought Canelo was in comfortably, but some people had Canelo losing. Now, that could also come down to Canelo's style of fight, that makes people believe that, you know, he's not winning the fight. But that, I don't agree with that. I think that's nonsense. In the sense that I think there's times where Canelo is just because of his name, because of what he's achieved. Sometimes I think people take it out on him, and because they feel that he gets favorable decisions. Sometimes when he is winning fights, they try to take that away from him as well, which I find kind of frustrating and disappointing, because I don't really care about a man's reputation. Look, Canelo got beat by Bivol. He got outclassed. He got beat comfortably. I thought he lost the fight comfortably, and I said after the fight that I thought he was outclassed. He was beaten. I don't care about a man's reputation. I just like to see the fight scored fairly. I like to see these fighters put their life on the line. The fighters train their butt off, and they deserve a fair shake. They deserve fair decisions, because, you know, it's unfair if a guy puts his life on the line, puts everything in a camp, and then he goes and gets jobbed in a fight by judges. I think it's totally harsh. You know, these guys put too much on the line. They spend too much time, and they deserve a fair shake. So that's why reputation doesn't matter for me. Reputation don't matter. It's about calling the fight accurately. It's about calling the fight fairly. And I although you guys know I like Canelo, but the first fight, I thought Golovkin won that first fight. And the second fight was mega close. I thought Canelo nicked it. But the point I'm trying to make is that this is an iconic fight. This is a proper fight. And Canelo is going into this fight as a substantial favorite in most people's eyes. However, this fight has a lot riding on it. Canelo's just lost to Dimitri Bivol. He's gonna have to win this fight. If Canelo loses this fight, that could be him done. Also, the legacy hit people are going to say Canelo was always not, I mean, Golovkin was always better than Canelo. He beat him the first time. The second time, he probably deserved to win. And the third time, he beat him. You know, so people are going to say Golovkin was better than Canelo. Canelo was a hype job. He got a lot of decisions. So there's a lot riding on for Canelo. Canelo's legacy's on stake here. Canelo, the trilogy... The trilogy that they're having is on stake here, because if Golovkin wins this fight, people are going to say over the 3 fights, he's had the better of it. Even though Canelo might have got the decision, people are going to say, nah, that first fight he lost. The second fight, some people thought Golovkin won. You know, even though I thought Canelo won the second one. But if Golovkin wins the third one, then you'd have to say over the 3 fights, he would have had the better of it. You know, so this is a lot riding on it for Canelo. Canelo's going to be under pressure now. Some of you are saying, well, Canelo doesn't feel pressure. Everyone feels pressure. Don't like some people handle it better than others, and obviously Canelo handles it better than most. That's hence why he's at the level he's at. Hence why he's in this position in life that he's at, because he handles it better than most people. He's also very naturally talented, very naturally gifted. But let's not forget, he's also fighting somebody that's also handles pressure very well. Otherwise, Golovkin wouldn't be where he's at. So it's not like he's coming up against somebody that's so inferior to him. He's coming up against somebody that has his mindset, also handles pressure. So sometimes, you know, I know you guys say, well, yeah, he handles, yeah, he does. But so does the guy in the opposite corner that he's going to be fighting. So it's a very tough fight. This is not an easy fight. This is a very, very tough fight. And when there's a fight, this is almost like, I look at it like a derby. Yeah, I know it's not two Mexicans, but it's almost like a derby. And I'll tell you why. Because these two have so much history. And people, when you talk about Canelo, Golovkin's name is just there. You know, these two's name will always be interlinked with each other, because this was these two fighting each other was massive. It was one of the biggest fights in boxing, and it still is one of the biggest fights in boxing. And they're both rivals. So their name will always be synonymous among, you know, when you talk about Canelo, Triple G's name will be mentioned. When you talk on Triple G, Canelo's name will be mentioned. And hence why I think that this is so important for both of them. Legacies, bragging rights, everything's at stake here. And for Canelo, who's had the more stellar career out the two, his whole legacy is at stake here. Because Golovkin can smash and grab here. You know, and Canelo could lose everything that he's worked for. You know, the legacy, the resume, everything will be maybe no good in some boxing fans' eyes if he ends up losing this fight. So, yeah, there's a lot at stake for Canelo. There's a lot at stake. And Canelo's got to go in there. And after the Bivol defeat, let's not forget, he was outclassed by Bivol in a fight where a lot of people thought he would win. And it was a humiliating defeat for Canelo. For someone like Canelo, who was talking about fighting Usyk, who was talking about being unbeatable, that no one can beat him, and then he got beaten. And that's the thing. Canelo said a lot of things prior to that fight. He goes, I'm unbeatable. I can't be beaten. Nobody can beat me. This is what he said. You know, and it backfired. This is what people say, that, you know, confidence is a great thing, but overconfidence can sometimes come and bite you in the bum. And did Canelo get overconfidence? Did Canelo become overconfident? Was he complacent? Did he underestimate Bivol? You know, these things can play. Because when you start feeling yourself, when you start thinking that, you know, I'm unbeatable, nobody can beat me, there's always somebody out there with your number. You know, and Canelo stylistically had a lot of trouble. But I think Canelo was walking through these guys. He thought he'd do exactly the same to Bivol. But unfortunately, that for me is complacency. That for me was somebody that went into that fight with not a game plan. He just felt like he was going to walk through him, and he kind of kept on doing the same thing throughout the fight, and it didn't work for him. And he kind of just kept doing the same thing, But as D Money pointed out, you know, we need the Golovkin that fought Jacobs. We need that boxer back. We need that guy that throws more punches. You know, he needs to throw. Canelo's never been a high volume guy throughout his career, but he needs to throw more punches. He needs to be more active. He needs to throw more shots. Otherwise, you know, guys like Bivol would you know, eat him for breakfast. because Bivol throws a lot of punches, and Bivol is a lot taller. He knows how to use his height and reach. He's just a very, very difficult style for Canelo, and I don't know whether Canelo can beat him, to be honest. And I just think stylistically Bivol is horribly wrong, but Golovkin is also stylistically a problem. If Golovkin turns up at his best, we know that Golovkin stylistically is also a very tough fight for Canelo Alvarez. You know, we know that he's not an easy fight, so that's gonna be a very tough fight for him as well. That's not going to be an easy fight for Canelo. So, you know, even Golovkin is proven, the 2 fights that he had with Canelo, he was proven difficult for Canelo. So I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see how this fight plays out. And I'm interested to see how Canelo bounces back. Because Canelo's never had... And D-Money made a good point that when Canelo has a tough fight, he normally fights a pretty easy fight. He normally has a Rocky Fielding or somebody that, you know, that is not much threat to him. He's come back from a defeat, and now he's gone straight into Golovkin. And I know Golovkin is 40 years of age, but Golovkin ain't Rocky Fielding. Golovkin ain't these guys. He's not Yildirim. It doesn't matter whether he's 40. Golovkin's a Hall of Famer, and he's a great fighter. And he'll always be a great fighter. Yeah, he might be on the decline, but he'll always be a great fighter. You know, some people are bizarrely saying that Canelo Alvarez is ducking Dmitry Bivol and fighting Gennady Golovkin, which is absurd. You know, and Canelo has already said that he's going to explore the Dmitry Bivol fight after the Golovkin fight. But, you know, of course, when you're at the top like Canelo was, there's going to be a lot. Canelo, we always knew, had a lot of haters. They're going to all come out of the woodworks and say, see, he got beat, and that style, he finally fought somebody that can fight, that can box, and he got outboxed. And now he's fighting a 40-year-old man. You see, people are always going to find ways to discredit someone like Canelo Alvarez. But for me, Canelo fighting Golovkin's a fun fight. Yeah, is it? You know, maybe I would have preferred him to fight Bivol right away. That's just my opinion. But from a business point of view, I think it's the right move. I think it's the right move. Get your confidence back. Look, it's not an easy fight. He may lose to Golovkin. Golovkin's a very, very tough fight for Canelo Alvarez. Like I said, stylistically, Golovkin will always be a hard fight. Always. Even at 40, if Golovkin turns up and does what we know he can do, he's always going to be a hard fight for Canelo. You know, it's Golovkin at the end of the day. Golovkin's a hard fight for anybody. When has Golovkin ever been an easy fight for anybody? He's Golovkin. He's Gennady Golovkin. He's always going to be a tough fight. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I am looking forward to this. Just because of the fact of what's happened. I think I'm more excited now at the fact that, because of the fact that Canelo lost, you know, that adds to the spice in this fight, because Canelo lost and Golovkin's 40. People think Golovkin's on the slide. However, how is Canelo going to handle defeat? How is he going to come back against someone like Golovkin, who's no joke, and he just lost? Canelo's just coming off a defeat. So how is he going to handle that going into such a high pressure stake fight, into a fight which is potentially going to carve his legacy out? You know, this is a fight which is a guy that people said that initially when Canelo wasn't fighting Golovkin, that this is a guy that Canelo was avoiding and ducking. And then when eventually he did fight him, a lot of people thought the first fight was controversial and Golovkin deserved to win. And, you know, the second fight was also controversial and some people thought that Golovkin deserved to win. So Canelo is fighting this guy who the last 2 fights he had with him were absolute wars and difficult fights for him. So now he's having a fight, coming off a loss against that guy, when there's going to be so much bad blood, so much energy, because there'll also be a lot more trash talking in this fight. There'll also be back and forth, because Canelo doesn't like Golovkin. He even says Golovkin talks a lot of crap. You know, but Golovkin's not talking a lot of crap. Golovkin's just upset that he feels he's been hard done by. People may call him bitter, but feels like he's been hard done by, and he's got a point. Because for me, Golovkin won that first fight. So, of course, Golovkin's going to feel bitter. Golovkin's going to feel unhappy. Golovkin's going to feel like he didn't get the rub of the green. He felt like he deserved to win, and he didn't get the rub of the green. You know, he got robbed in his opinion. His legacy has been hurt. His legacy has been hit because of the fact that it's not Canelo's fault, but he feels like the judges have done him dirty. That's what Golovkin feels. He feels he's been done dirty. And he feels his legacy has been hit. So Golovkin might have an attitude in this fight that I'm gonna take him out, or I'm gonna go out swinging. If I go out, I'm gonna go out swinging. I'm not backpedaling in this fight. I'm gonna put it on this guy and give it all I've got. I'm gonna give it all I've got in this fight. I'm going to land as many big shots as I can. I'm going to make it uncomfortable. I'm going to make it a tough and horrible and a hard fight for this guy. And I think that's what Golovkin should do if he wants to be successful against Canelo Alvarez. But, you know, I do make Canelo a substantial favorite in the fight. I do think, obviously, Canelo should beat Golovkin. But, again, because of what's happened prior, because of things that, you know, what this fight means and the bad blood between the two and stylistically how the fight played out the first 2 times, this is always going to be a fun fight. This is always going to be a fun build-up, and it's always going to be great to watch. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's hope that, you know, we get a great fight in September. But leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think, guys. It is official. Canelo Alvarez will be fighting Gennady Golovkin September 17th. Leave your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.